Okay, hello everybody. Today is Thursday, 29 November, and welcome to Facebook Live and Instagram Live. So it's a pleasure to be here. I came back last night very late. I forgot to shave this morning, but I came back very late from RSNA. So RSNA is history for me, but RSNA is going on right now, and RSNA will go on until 12 o'clock tomorrow, which is Friday. Though if I look at my watch, it's about 1 o'clock, which is the time all the exhibits close. And it did seem to me that RSNA wasn't quite as crowded this year. I think a combination of two things. One is it seems like there was a lot of decrease in a lot of the foreign visitors, particularly from like China, I would say. And the other thing is that, you know, there was a snowstorm, or it ended up being minimal snow, but there was this thing that happened on Sunday, and so they canceled all the flights and from the East Coast, and a lot of people couldn't make it, and some people had to go roundabout. They went to California to come back, but I think that may have did things as well. So RSNA was, I think we did very well. I know we won a couple of cum laudes in some of our deep learning things, and Linda Chu on pancreas, and so that part was really good. And we had a number of presentations. We did this presentation on I'm waving to tell those people to be quiet. We did this presentation on the cinematic rendering. We did this categorical course, myself, Steve Rowe, and Linda Chu, and I thought that went very well. And I was in this really good CTA versus MRA session yesterday with a whole mess of people, Marty Prince, and I was in charge of the whole thing. That was pretty cool. I did this cardiac thing on Monday, and we did this Image Wisely. I don't like to talk about other websites, but Image Wisely, which is a really great site from the ACR and RSNA, looking at radiation dose and minimizing dose as a new website. We spoke about that at RSNA, and I think some of you saw the Facebook Live we did, and so that's a terrific site for you to look at. And of course, there's Image Wisely, which is for adults, and Image Gently, which is for children, and both are terrific websites and can be very helpful in your practice. So I'll give them a plug. Now, as for the rest of the meeting, if you ask me the question, was there something incredible there? Like, was there some equipment that you say, oh my God, they got this new equipment, and I think I gotta buy it? Well, here's the count. I don't wanna say anything, but here's the count saying, I didn't see anything. There was nothing really good. I didn't see anything special. Okay. Now, I wasn't the one who said that. That was the count speaking. Max's favorite Sesame Street character next to Elmo. But I will admit there was a lot of new companies. I think they were mainly new Chinese companies. There was this company that had a gigantic booth that was big as like the GE and Siemens booth. Something called United Imaging was actually right across from Siemens. And I'm not sure, just maybe it was coincidental, the scanners looked identical to the Siemens scanners. They kind of looked the same, and I saw the people who were in the booth of United Imaging used to be in the booth in the Siemens booth. So I thought maybe it was a new Siemens company, but it's some new Chinese company that's making CT, MR, ultrasound, and everything else. So there was not anything new. The biggest thing was, of course, AI. Now, the problem with that was people recognized that they needed to say they were doing AI, no matter what they were doing. Like, if you took the volume and you changed the volume on your radio, or if in your room when you took a shower, you adjusted the hot and cold to get the temperature just right, instead of saying, well, I adjusted the temperature, well, I used AI to adjust the temperature. Okay, well, that's very good. And in the cafeteria, they used AI, whether you want a tuna fish sandwich or a turkey sandwich. You know, the decisions were made by AI. It wasn't like you were thinking, I like tuna fish, I don't like turkey. I keep kosher, I don't like turkey. I like turkey, I don't like tuna. I don't like tuna, there's too much mercury. So everything was AI. It was so nonsensical because everyone felt they needed to be in the AI world. And, you know, radiology, like every other specialty, like everything in the world, you know, everyone gets onto one thing and they feel like they need to say it. And then the reality will come later. In fact, I thought there was more excitement around AI last year, particularly in that machine learning thing that was way in the back. They had that thing way in the back, was a little bit bigger, but I found it to be very boring. there's a bunch of booths that look like, most of them were put together by the high school students. It looked like, they had a couple of pictures, they had a monitor, they had someone moving a mouse around, and everyone was doing deep learning. But I think because everybody was saying the word AI and everything else, it kind of lost some of its pop because it kind of became overwhelmed by the sheer boredom of it all. So I looked at so many different booths, and Derek and Dave and I walked around, and I was trying to look and find something great. That's my interest, find something great. We went to NVIDIA. NVIDIA was kind of cool. I mean, they were doing some work on segmenting organs, and they had some nice software demos and things like that. So I would say NVIDIA did the usual NVIDIA thing, which is, really being at the cutting edge. And I will say that if you looked at everybody's box, they had NVIDIA inside, kind of like the old days of Intel, but whether you were a Chinese company, whether you were an American company, whether you were a European company, you saw a lot of people using NVIDIA chips. So at the end, no great surprise, NVIDIA is sort of the winner of all of this. But they're trying to build tools to help things go along. So that was kind of okay, but I've seen that before, of course. But I just did not see the apps. I will say there were a lot of courses, radiomics, which we do at Hopkins. There seemed to me everybody had something on radiomics. There was 1 million scientific sessions on radiomics and AI and stuff in between. Someone told me there were roughly 270 sessions that related to AI. So I think that was okay, but people are interested, there's no doubt, as we are. But I think, now comes the reality, because now you're going to have to basically come up with something, have some data, not a lot of hand waving. You can't have any puppets representing you on the AI world. So I think that becomes a very important thing. So you really need to figure out, what's the best way of really moving forward in that. So I think that was one of the things I saw. There was a lot of work related around quality assurance, which is always important. There was a lot of the basic stuff on imaging. That was important. The exhibit hall was mainly computers. There were a few posters, old school stuff. We had our incredible app on the lumbar spine. Again, you go to the Apple store, you can download it as of last Saturday or last Friday. This is a really good app on looking at the sagittal views and what you can learn from the sagittal view. It's a terrific app. That was the only app, the only iPad I saw at RSNA. So that was kind of that's a trend that's happened for a while. There was great interest in the iPad. Now it's kind of gone off because you don't even evaluate you for winning an award. It's those stupid exhibits that have 35 PowerPoint slides. It's what they look at, and whatever. But 35 PowerPoint slides is okay, but that's not really you can't really show your work in 35 slides or 35 slides with 70 clicks. I think it's okay. Don't get me wrong; it's a good thing. But the fact that they don't evaluate a lot of the the apps and stuff seems a little bit silly to me. And maybe that's sour grapes, but I think we will be doing it. Now, let me see. Along as we're talking about AI, so I see Julie McKinnon, who's from the UK, was making some comments about people jumping on the bandwagon. Do you think the technological advances of radiographers is being lost to AI and algorithms? Yeah, it's a good question. I think that some of this stuff is working okay. I think there's some push to try to automate some of the stuff. There was some companies trying to look at the chest CT, for example, and automatically measure the aorta and pick up lung nodules and measure the cardiac thoracic ratio. So I think what you saw people trying to do is automate some of the basic functions we all do and dump them into a report, let's say in a nuance or something. But that's the definition of AI. So I think in the past you wouldn't have called it AI. I think maybe that's the problem of using the term AI. It would have been just automation and some feature sets that you would have had and some improvements in your software and stuff. But now it's AI, so it's kind of a little bit much. I did see IBM Watson They didn't have too much to show, but they had really nice chairs in front. There was like these boxes. They were very white. I would have taken some of those boxes, but I wouldn't take any of their software. I wasn't that impressed by that. They had stuff at GE. GE's doing some new stuff. They had some interesting things I thought were okay in terms of trying to build out the workflow. And so GE really focused on the workflow. There was some stuff from Siemens, but again, probably on the workflow thing. But I think that probably both of those companies and a number of other companies really, as people are commenting on the side here, really haven't, it's the usual thing is they come up with something by a bunch of people sitting in labs saying what the radiologists really want to do, or they speak to one radiologist who's a third cousin of one of the people programming, and then they come up with that's the app. And I think it's a tremendous disservice to themselves and to radiologists, because it's the thing we've all been used to is where, when the app is finished or the program is finished, they want you to look at it and comment whether or not, how much you like it, and then you say it sucks, and they look at you like you're crazy. But I think that's one of the problems. I think also what medicine is hurting on right now, particularly the big companies, is they move around the people they have in different positions to be head of AI. And they need to get some AI to think about who they have in charge of AI. When you have these people who have been around forever in 27 jobs at a Siemens or a GE, and they just move them around here, there, and the other, I don't think those are the people who should be leading the charge. I think you need to look at the Googles of the world, or the Facebooks of the world, or the Apples of the world, and really think of people who are experts in AI, who are really knowledgeable in AI, who really know what you need to do in AI, and have them then get involved and lead your team. You have a bunch of people who really just have been in leadership positions perhaps, but don't really have the knowledge base. And so their understanding and their lack of vision, it seems to me that everything is kind of in little boxes, rather than this broad thinking. And, AI is starting. You don't want to be in these boxes right now. When technology's been around for a long time, it kind of have boxes and parameters and edges and definitions. But when things are new, that's when you need to, as Ed Catmull will say, take risk, make mistakes, think boldly, and then you can have great opportunity to succeed. It's kind of like the Google model of success. Think of a YouTube, think of things like that. But I think already they're conditioning themselves to be in a box that you couldn't even fit a mouse in. It's kind of like a mouse box. Matchbox, mouse box, box, real small, that small. I think that's a problem, because if your thinking is really small and you have people who think really small, the odds of you coming up with a great idea is probably going to be very unlikely, and you don't also take advantage of what's going to come along. I know that, when you look at, some of the companies, the chip companies, the NVIDIAs of the world, who are thinking big and thinking innovative and thinking expansile, instead of some of the big companies are more or less thinking, instead of thinking, to put it in perspective, let's go from cars to driverless cars. I think a lot of those companies are saying, oh my God, we have a good idea. Let's bring back horses. We're going to have horses. Horses, there's less pollution. We can park horses, I guess. But, you probably don't want to bring back the horses. Henry Ford had a good idea to have cars, and now you want to take it to the next level of driverless cars, which is a challenge, there's no doubt. But we want to see the same thing in medicine. We don't want to go from where we are back to horses. We want to go to driverless cars. So I think that becomes very important, and I think the companies need to really think about what they're doing. I just wasn't impressed. Now, maybe I'm hard to impress, but I just really wasn't impressed. Now, let me see. We need Alexa to answer the phones. And we are doing that, actually. The Alexa is terrific. I've also been looking I have my son-in-law works at Google, so I have to be very careful. But he put a Google thing in my house. It's really unbelievable. So I think I'm going to try one in my office. But whether it's Alexa or it's the Google Assistant, I'm very impressed by those technologies and that innovativeness. That breakthrough ideas. Like there's an article in the paper. It's an article posted on CTisus today that Alexa has done it already. Now Google Assistant does it, where if your child speaks to the computer, if instead of saying put the lights on, if you say, Alexa, can you please put the light on? Alexa say, I'd be happy to put the light on for you. So Alexa gets more polite the more polite you are, because you don't want to have a bunch of kids just telling people what to do, like as if there are some administrators in a radiology department. You want people who say please and thank you. So Alexa is now, and Google Assistant is now rewarding you for being polite, which you should have been in the first place. But now it's really doing that. So again, that same idea. And John Biachino works at Hopkins in CT. So we're going to have to, I'm not sure Alexa to answer the phone, but I think Alexa to get someone on the phone perhaps would be good. And, if we have all the doctors' names, you say, Alexa, get Dr. Cameron on the phone. That'd be kind of a cool thing perhaps. Or if you need to call someone up with an emergent finding or check on a patient or something, then you can say, Alexa, please call Zayed 5 or something, the nursing station. So I think that integration becomes very good. And I think integration, just to say you integrate things because you have AI, that's kind of a little bit lame. And I saw a lot of lame things at RSNA. So let's see. Oh, my goodness, 17 minutes. So my time is almost up. Can Alexa teach clinicians to improve their bedside manner? Perhaps. I think we have to program it correctly, but Alexa can surely help your patients take their medication. Alexa can surely help the communication between your doctor and you, or your doctor and a patient. So Alexa, I think, will be really built in there. David Abitsky, who spoke at Hopkins, was just spectacular a month or so ago. If you go to his LinkedIn account or you look him up on Google search, he posts a lot of really good ideas and a lot of things people are doing with Alexa. He's the chief evangelist, so he's the one who pushes Alexa into new areas. And if you look him up online, Abitsky with an I, there's some tremendous, tremendous stuff that you can see Alexa's doing. And perhaps teaching clinicians to improve their bedside manner will be one of them. But it does have tremendous potential. When he was here, he spoke about how the fact that the biggest growth areas were the very young kids and the very older patients. The young kids where Alexa is almost their helper. Alexa, what's the largest planet? Alexa, how many moons does Saturn have? To the older patients who Alexa's telling them, take your medicine. How are you doing today? And people who are by themselves, they're older, find that the Alexa voice kind of is a little bit of humanity, that it's a way of them, they feel as someone speaking to them, they kind of have a much better feel, a much better attitude, and it really helps people take their medicine, for example. So with that, I think I've used up my time, and I know everybody's busy. So we'll see you next week. I haven't figured out what topic I'm going to talk about, but we'll be back here next Thursday or so. So with that, I wish you all a great day and a great weekend. And it's hard to believe it's the end of November and December's coming along. So we'll see you next time in December. Catch you later. Bye.